DBJ. Going to talk about the environment. Um, I'm going to bring up one specific environmental effect you can use across the board, and that's fog. You can also add other things in here like thick pollen, falling leaves, smoke, haze, ash, those kind of things, right? And it's something that obscures the environment. And I'm going to make a point of this because someone commented about if both sides have disadvantage, doesn't it negate each other? And I'm going to say no. Here's how, and it's situational, but here's why both sides of an encounter could literally have disadvantage, and it makes sense. And it depends on what it is. Okay, so you got your player characters. They're in the dark wood. It's nighttime, and a thick fog covers the land. The dew just comes down, and there's a thick fog, or maybe they're in a blasted wasteland, filled with um, volcanoes in the distance, and it's just spewing out, heat and smoke and ash, and you can't see very far through the thick fog. But they're being hunted, and they're being hunted by gnolls and they're warg, hyena-like wargs and hyena-like dire wolves uh, in this thick wood, right? And this thick fog, they've run, the players are hiding, and this thick fog descends, right? So now, as a game master, you can say, well, you know what? Ranged combat is at disadvantage for both sides. So if you want to use your crossbow, you want to shoot a spell, you want to throw a javelin, you want to throw a dagger, you can barely see them out further than 20 yards, even less than. So you're at disadvantage. And they are at disadvantage to attack you at ranged combat. You could also have the effect of, since it's very difficult to see someone from a range, that the disadvantage of wearing armor to use stealth is canceled out by the disadvantage of the opponent to notice you, right? So that could cancel each other out. So, the character in the chainmail or the plate mail or something like that, you could always make the case that it makes more noise than being visible. But you could say, okay, listen, Paladin, you're in your plate mail and you want to sneak around. Well, sneaking around in the middle of the city or the broad daylight's not going to work. But in this thick fog in the middle of the night, yes, you are not at disadvantage because they are literally at disadvantage to notice you, and you are disadvantaged to sneak, unless of course you want to keep both die rolls, right? So whatever. But I could see both sides being at disadvantage from ranged combat. But then you get the idea, well, hey, I'm the ranger and he's the rogue. We're going to sneak around and try to, pinch off these scouts that are coming after us and get into close range, in which case close range might just be regular combat. And then, the wizard's like, well, I'll cast a lightning bolt or something. Well, if you cast that lightning bolt, everyone's going to see you. It's just going to be like a bright light. I mean, everybody's going to know where it came from and where to head. He's like, well, I'm going to take the dwarven fighter is going to defend me, so I'm going to, I can see the gnoll warlord, the gnoll chieftain is right there, so I'm going to take the opportunity to take him out. And you're like, well, he's kind of far away. You're not sure whether it's him or not. Well, when he gets in range, I'm going to use it. All right, well, if you use your lightning bolt, you're going to be at disadvantage. That's okay. I'm going to spend one of my inspiration points to negate that disadvantage. There you go. Those kind of things. But fog is one of those things that fog, smoke, haze, anything that's in the air that can, you could even use heat waves from, like in the desert, as a method to reduce the sensory perception of the players in an area where they can see very far, right? So the characters are crossing a mountain range, they're in a valley, all of a sudden a big snowstorm comes, high winds, and it just becomes, it's like it's a whiteout, it's a blizzard. They can't see very far, and it can be kind of scary. So you can add more of a horror. We don't know what's ahead kind of effect, and also the idea that if we let the player characters let themselves be known, the enemy knows where they are, but the player characters don't know where the enemy is hiding. And you can, instead of using disadvantage, you can have like minuses. You know, you're at -2 to hit at range. Maybe a bunch of perception checks. You know, you do know that the dire hyenas are coming after you with their trainers and scouts, but you don't know where the rest of the entourage is at, right? Riding on hyena wargs or something like that, right? So you don't know where they're at, but yes, you can see the scouts because you've been hiding for a while, and you could modify who sees what. So if the player characters have spread out, the wizard sees one group, the clerics and the rogue working together see another group, the barbarian and the ranger who are sneaking around in another direction, they see another group, and it can get a little chaotic, and it would behoove the game master to like really organize something like that. But that would take a very simple, we're standing out in the middle of a group and we're just going to fight. I attack, you attack, I attack, let's roll initiative, they attack, you attack. You know, use the environment, hiding behind trees, let the player characters hide behind fallen logs. The enemy tries to flank the player characters. Player characters try to flank the enemy. Maybe player characters try to climb up into the trees so that even in the fog, no one knows that they're above. If the player characters take out the scouts, which are basically, you know, using hunting dogs, these dire hyena hunting dogs, take them out, maybe that reduces the advantage, capital A, that the gnolls have to sniff out the player characters, and takes out that advantage, so now that the player characters can use the fog to hide even further. All kinds of things like that, right? But anyway, just fog, smoke, ash, thick pollen in a forest, fey glen, elven type glen or something like that. You know, you could do blizzards, thick leaves falling around, anything that obscures the environment. It could be a magical obscurement with blinding lights. Maybe there's the sun glints off of the gemstones in this mountain valley, and it's just very bright lights or something like that. So just using an environmental visual obstruction to change the way combat is run. And also, for those who have problems with character classes that are overpowered, this may be the testing grounds for like those that have ranged abilities versus those that are more close in range. And for those with ranged abilities, especially spellcasters or your stereotypical elven archer, your ranger with his crossbow or something like that, this will be a good opportunity to throw a monkey wrench into that. If they're, you know, relying on it all the time as a game master, you go, hey, this is a good idea, and hey, I've already foreshadowed it. You know, you're going into a valley that's really foggy. You've already foreshadowed it. You let them know what's going to happen. You let them know that there's going to be problems. They go, yeah, okay, we're going to go into the valley anyway, and just to change things up. So anyway, Davey B, as always, create, don't destroy. Just create some really great environments. Don't use the environment to destroy your players, but to create a dynamic situation that might affect both the characters and the players. Or you have easy enemies, but you want to throw some more magic in it. You want to bring back the magic of the goblinoids, who can be kind of boring over the years, without giving them tactics and changing the environment. So anyway, DBJ, and I'm out.